Good evening and welcome, dobra večer, dobrodošli to yet another episode. In fact, the penultimate episode for 2023 of the Oz Cro Soccer Show. My name is Tonči Prusac and it's an absolute pleasure to be here with you tonight. And tonight's show is one massive show. So much so that we need the great one from Sydney, Ante Grabovac, to help me bring this show together. Ante, good evening firstly, and what a show we've got lined up tonight.
Absolutely massive show, Tonči. But of course, we've got some big breaking news before we begin with the show.
Now, has it got to do something with a band from Croatia that had such a big time at the St. Albans Dinamo presentation night last weekend in front of 1,000 people? The Zaprešić boys, they loved it so much. And breaking news, they're moving to Australia. In fact, they're moving to Melbourne. They're going to change their name and they're going to be called not the Zaprešić boys, but the St. Albans Dinamo boys. Is that true?
Tonči, I think you're far-fetching things there. But yeah, definitely. I think they'd be happy to come back next year for the tournament. Of course, yes, that is the news whereby St. Albans has been already named today as the host of the 2024 tournament, which is fairly unusual because usually the tournament host for the following year is announced at the Gala dinner. But today it's been announced on social media. So congratulations to St. Albans Dinamo. So next year, everyone to Melbourne.
Yeah, now this was released earlier today on St. Albans Dinamo and Dinamo's Facebook page. And there are some quotes associated with the announcement. I'll get it right. Jure Dragovic, president of the Croatian Soccer Association of Australia, says it was obvious to us from the tourney planning committee's genuine appetite to host our annual tournament, the work they've already put in and the plans they shared with us that the St. Albans Dinamo football family wish to, and we are confident will, put on a tournament befitting of our Savez's 50th Jubilee year. And to which the president of St. Albans Dinamo, someone very, very well known to this show, Ilija Dragicevic, says the following, Ante.
It's exciting for us to be hosting the Australian and New Zealand Croatian Soccer Tournament, and with all of those attending from near and far. We've had so much success on and off the park in recent years, and we continue to build on our momentum as a club by hosting this wonderful tournament's 50th Jubilee. So it's going to be absolutely massive being the 50th year. As a club, the timing couldn't be better for us and more broadly for us to be sharing it with you all. So, yeah, very exciting news. And it's going to be a massive tournament in Adelaide next week, and it's going to be a massive tournament in 2024 at St. Albans.
Speaking of the Adelaide tournament, it's getting ever so close. Next week, we've got our big season finale. So we've got some massive surprises about that. We hopefully will have a live cross to Adelaide as well. And but make sure to get this week's Hrvatski Vjesnik, the Croatian Herald. There's a lift out event program, if you like, program planner. It's got everything that is happening over the course of those 4 days, starting on Thursday, ending on Sunday. It promises to be massive. It promises to be huge. It promises to be memorable, that's for sure. And it's going to be a big weekend. So, folks, do make sure to get the latest edition of the Croatian Herald, the Hrvatski Vjesnik. Folks, wherever you may be, thank you for joining us, and we'd love to know where you're tuning in from, which part of the world, not just which part of Australia, but just to prove that this show is obviously about Croatians and the Croatian community backed football clubs here in Australia. It's not just for Croatians. Obviously, we say it in English, and we speak in English. And so we attract a wide cross-section of football fans in general. But the following, big shout-out to Jack Smithy. Now, I hope I've pronounced that correctly. He says simply, I love your show. So Smithy or Smitty.
Thanks, Jack.
Thank you very much, Jack. That's great. That's awesome. And Auntie, look, just your last few days, I've had some fantastic comments from a lot of people associated with many of our great, wonderful Croatian clubs Australia-wide. And it's. I mean, we don't do it for the recognition. We don't do it for the glory. There is no glory, and there certainly is no recognition. But it's absolutely heartwarming hearing that what we do, Auntie, is appreciated by a lot of people everywhere. So it's just, it's really touching, heartwarming, and thank you very much to all those people that do appreciate what we try and do, despite the freaking mainstream media in Australia. Just love, and it's not just Croatian football clubs, but it's just football in general here in Australia, neglecting it. But you know what? They're absolutely crapping themselves because they're scared. They're scared. The sleeping giant is slowly awakening in this country. But let's also, as supporters, members, backers of the Croatian community clubs around Australia, let's also be the best possible ambassadors for our clubs and our community as well, because there's some freaking vultures out there just waiting for us to do the wrong thing. Anyway, Auntie, mate, have we got a massive show lined up? Let's talk about our guests coming on tonight.
Absolutely huge. You mentioned huge and memorable, and it has been a huge and memorable week, and it's just going to continue over the next couple of weeks. And, of course, tonight we have got the preview of the big Canberra Grand Final. It is a historical Grand Final because the first time that two Croatian teams have met in a Grand Final, and that will be the O'Connor Knights player Niko Kresic will be joining us along with Sam Brown, the Canberra Croatia goalkeeper, and they used to be teammates as well, so I'm sure there'll be an extra edge to that interview as well. Really looking forward to that. And then after them, we'll be speaking to, of course, the victorious Anthony Duzel from Melbourne Knights. All of us were tuned in on Thursday evening with that massive, massive comeback, and we'll be speaking to him ahead of Sunday's big match against Brisbane Roar at Knight Stadium, and we'll be speaking a lot more about that. Following that, we've got the victorious Ante Poljak. I don't know if you were some of the people who actually tuned in via YouTube on Sunday evening to see the fantastic Gold Coast Knights performance and win their grand final. So Ante will relive all of that. And finally, a man who I've wanted to talk to pretty much for 30 years or interview for 30 years. And tonight is the night, so I've been waiting for this for a long time. Anthony Smolic is actually joining us. He is the MC of the Adelaide Croatian Tournament, so it's a massive show. Let's get on with it, Taunchy.
Oh, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. I cannot wait, and it is going to be absolutely huge. That's the best way to describe all of this. Folks, thank you to Gem Life, our major sponsor this year. Really, really appreciate their support and everything that we have had, all the backing that we've had from Adrian Pulic and everyone at Gem Life. We're going to take a short break, and here are some messages from our major sponsor, Gem Life. Don't go away, folks. When we return, it'll be time for the news desk with Ante and the Australian Croatian Roundup.
Who's to say who's young, who's old? Compared to who? Age is complicated. You see, most people really stop getting older at age 26, but their bodies just don't get the memo. So, hidden inside most over 50-ish-year-olds is the soul and spirit of a 26-year-old with the same loves and desires and hopes and dreams, just in slightly different packaging. Why waste time wondering when you could be enjoying? It's your life, and life is what you make it. So, what are you waiting for?
Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It is episode 54, and it's off and running, off with the Australian Croatian roundup. Over to you, Ante.
Thank you so much. Yeah, Thursday night, we're all glued to our TV screens, and those in the stadium made it a fantastic atmosphere as well. So the Australia Cup quarterfinal, and that was on Thursday night, and it was a great comeback. The Heidelberg were up 2-0 after 25 minutes. And then Gian Albano came up with a goal to make it 2-1. So 2-1 it was at halftime. Fortunately, there was a red card in the 80th minute to Heidelberg's Anthony Lesiotis. And then, actually we're messaging each other, a few of us on a chat group, and Luka Abramovic actually said, I wish that red card happened 10 minutes earlier. I would have given us more chance to come back. But actually, what actually happened is we did come back. Left it to the late show with Anton coming in the 90th minute and Mitchell coming in the 96th minute. And, geez, those scenes at the end of the game with the fence being crushed and everything else was absolutely fantastic. Congratulations to the Melbourne Knights, becoming the second Croatian club to reach the semi-finals. Last year, of course, Sydney United. This year, it's Melbourne Knights. And, yeah, well done in its 70th year. And it brings up a massive game on Sunday night at Knight Stadium against the Brisbane Roar. And it's also a bit of a brother derby as well. We've got Mitchell Hall on the side of Melbourne Knights, and we've got Harry Henry Hall, who's on the side of Brisbane Roar. So we will be speaking to Anthony Duzel a little bit more about this game a little bit later on. But Taunchy, obviously you enjoyed the game as well, but it was just a magnificent comeback.
It was thrilling. It was heart-stopping. It was just absolutely incredible. And we unfortunately we had a presentation, a juniors presentation night that night. So we've got home. We've been looking at the progress scores and catching 10 play in between presentations and watching it. We just got home. It was like about the 75th minute, and it was like, oh man, 2-1. What's going on? And then all of a sudden that red card was like, all right, just like Luka Abramovic said, oh man, if it had happened 10 minutes earlier, could it have happened a little bit earlier? And then that first goal came, and it was like, well, the second goal, I should say, the equaliser, and then the third goal was absolute pandemonium.
It was a beautiful, well taken goal as well, and yeah, it was amazing. It was brilliant. It was so exciting. So yeah, Sunday night.
6 p.m. The only thing I was a little bit disappointed, whether it's the Thursday night time slot, was the crowd again, unfortunately, and there wasn't as many Heidelberg supporters as I thought there would be. But look, now no excuse. Prime time on a Sunday night. It's what used to be the old NSL time slot, Sunday night at 6 p.m. Let's hope there is triple what there were on Thursday night. But it was just absolutely fantastic. And,
yes, that's right. Yes, last year, Sydney United in the corresponding fixture did beat the Roar in the semi-final. I think they're a different team this year, though. We'll be speaking to Anthony Duzel about that a little bit more. Yeah. But, it's we'll see. It'll be an interesting matchup on Sunday evening. But it'll be great to get another Croatian team in the final, just like we did last year. So go the Knights. National Second Division, nothing new to report here. We've got the 3 Croatian clubs who have submitted, and then we've got the obviously the Gold Coast Knights who have withdrawn, and no other news on the other teams at this particular point in time. If you do know something, put it in the chat. Sunday night, we're glued to our televisions. This was fantastic TV as well. The Gold Coast Knights, Max Brown, who came up with a fantastic goal in the 29th minute. And they hung on and dominated this actual match against Moreton Bay. We weren't really troubled too much. And congratulations to everyone at the Gold Coast Knights, winning the Cup, winning the Premiership, and winning the Grand Final as well. So 3 Cups, winning everything in Queensland, and testament to everyone involved at the Gold Coast Knights.
And yet still the mainstream media on the Gold Coast Bulletin or whatever it's called, does not cover the Gold Coast Knights and doesn't really cover any football. That's why, Ante, we are set up to do exactly that, to at least from our end publicise a little bit of what is happening with our Australian Croatian clubs around Australia. We'll be talking to our Anthony Poljak a little bit later on, and he'll tell us all about that memorable weekend at the Suncorp Stadium for him, his teammates, and the hundreds and hundreds of Gold Coast Knights fans that made the trek from the Gold Coast, and obviously the local Brisbane Croatian community as well. All right,
It's great to see.
Yeah.
ACT. We've already mentioned that. It was incredible. Speaking of comebacks, Canberra Croatia were 2-0 down. It was just unbelievable viewing, and then they came back with a goal similar to the Knights, whereby they were 2-1 down at halftime. They equalised, though, in the 67th, Shabu scoring his second goal and making it 2-2 at full time. And then it was just first period of extra time. It was total annihilation, and Canberra Croatia ending up 5-2 victors against Gala. And this sets up, of course, this historic grand final on Saturday night. Even though O'Connor came first and were the first team into the grand final, it is actually being held at Deakin Stadium. So we'll be talking to the boys a little bit about that as well. In previous meetings so far this year, it's been 1-1, 2-2, and only one win at Deakin Stadium, interestingly enough, to O'Connor. So we'll see what happens there. In the under-23s, O'Connor lost, unfortunately, they were leading 2-0, but lost 3-2 to Monaro. And in the grand final, in the under-23s, it will be Canberra Croatia versus Monaro on Saturday as well. So extra incentive to get there earlier to cheer on the boys. And in the under-18s grand final, Canberra Croatia actually won 4-2 in extra time against Canberra Olympic. So potentially Canberra Croatia could do a clean sweep of grand finals. But I'm sure that the opposition will have something to say about that. Over in Newcastle, 9-2. How do you win a semi-final by 9 goals? That's just absolutely incredible. Brilliant. That is brilliant. Well done to everyone in Newcastle. And that sets up the grand final this Saturday afternoon at Myers Park against Hamilton Azzurri, who are, of course, the Italian team. So everyone in Newcastle, get on down and cheer the boys, and hopefully they can bring the grand final home. In Tassie, they had their grand final qualifier. Now, I was getting live scores of this game at 10 a.m. on Saturday morning. If anyone is tuning in from Tassie and can let me know why this game kicked off at 10 a.m., I'd love to know. But anyway, unfortunately, Glenorchy lost by 2-0 and so are out. So this week's winners... That's right. This week's winners list, we've got 4 teams there. Congratulations to Canberra, Gold Coast, Newcastle, and the Knights. Hopefully next week they will be there as well. 2023 League Premiers. So there we have the 6 clubs. Of course, the grand final winners, we've now added the emblem of Gold Coast after their win. We've got another couple of emblems hopefully to be added by next week. And of course, the cup winners this year are those 3 particular clubs. So, well done. And huge reason to celebrate. It's been a mammoth week for Australian Croatian football.
Yeah, it has, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger this weekend coming. It's going to be massive, that's for sure. Folks, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, it's time for the Croatian Roundup. We're going to keep it very short because we have got 5 extraordinary guests on tonight. So we obviously have to get to them as quickly as possible. Don't go away, folks. Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Let's go very, very quickly through the HNL results and the fixtures for coming up this weekend. This doesn't often happen, but in round 8, all the home teams win. 5 games, 5 wins, all home teams. Amazing. Lokomotiva defeated Rudeš 1-0 in the battle that you could describe it as the battle of the Australian Croatian administrators. Lokomotiva Zagreb's general manager is Denis Gudasic, formerly of Geelong, and NK Rudeš president is Josip Šimunić, formerly of Canberra. So in this particular case, it was Lokomotiva Zagreb that defeated NK Rudeš by the only goal of the game, 1-0. Dinamo Zagreb, easily defeated Slaven Belupo 3-0. They're on the way up. NK Rijeka with Marko Piazza, remember him, formerly of Dinamo Zagreb. He's now come to Rijeka, scored 2 goals against Osijek. One was an absolute unbelievable goal, a Euro goal, as they say, world-class goal. 2-1 winners over Osijek. Gorica, this one was incredible. In the dying stages, in injury time, Gorica defeated Hajduk Split 2-1. This is Hajduk's now second consecutive loss, and the ramifications are being felt all over the world. let me tell you. Varaždin defeated Istra 1-0, so that was a very valuable win for the Varaždinci at home. If we quickly look at the ladder before we go back to that slide and have a look at the fixtures for this weekend, look at the what's the word? Look at the battle for top spot now that's eventuating. At one stage, Hajduk Split 2 rounds ago was starting to run away, but now they're making it very, very interesting. 15 points, 2 points ahead of Rijeka and Dinamo Zagreb. Now, Dinamo has a game in hand against Lokomotiva. So we all know what the result of that game is going to be. Actually, no. In recent years, Lokomotiva has had the wood over Dinamo, so anything's possible. But Dinamo are now starting to hit top form, and that is an ominous sign for the rest of the league. Gorica, well, they are a surprise packet. They're in the top 4. They have leapfrogged Osijek, who also were doing very, very well up until recently. So they've suffered 2 losses in the last 2 weeks. Varaždin, mid-table, Lokomotiva 9 points, Istra 7, Slave Belupo 6, and poor old Rudeš at the bottom. They are yet to register a win. They come up against the might of Dinamo Zagreb this week in the early hours of Monday morning at 3:15 a.m. In fact,
they won't win that one either.
No, they won't win that one. You know, if they do, there is something not right with the universe. But look, let's see what happens. Osijek at home to Varaždin. Big game for Osijek, that one. Istra hosting Gorica. Hajduk Split taking on Lokomotiva Zagreb. This is a big, big game for Hajduk. They need this win because the week after, they take on Dinamo Zagreb at home. So they've got 2 games at home. A very important game. Probably, I would dare say, one of the most important games for Hajduk Split. They need to get that momentum back. Slave Belupo at home to Rijeka, the marauding, rampaging Rijeka. Rudeš at home to Dinamo Zagreb, as we mentioned. Okay, if we go to the Prva Liga, very, very quickly, the results here. Zrinski Jurjevac, they lost to Orient 1-2. Vukovar, big winners over Dugopolje 3-0. Jarun over Croatia Zmijavci in a high-scoring game there, 5-2. Solid lost to Sesvete 1-0 at home, and as a result, they've lost their coach. So we've got another coaching casualty this year. Bijelo Brdo and Dubrava Zagreb drew 1-1, and then Šibenik back on the winners list after defeating Cibalia 2-0. So if we have a look at the ladder after 6 games, Šibenik are now slipped away to a comfortable 3-point lead over Zrinski, Jurjevac, and Vukovar. Dugopolje also in the top 4. Then you got Cibalia, Dubrava, Jarun, Orient, Sesvete, Bijelo Brdo. And then the 2 Dalmatian clubs at the bottom, Solin in second last position and Croatia Zmijavci in bottom position. So turning our attention to this week's fixtures, so round 7 fixtures, Dugopolje taking on Solin, the big battle of the co-tenants there at the Stadion Hrvatskih Vitezova in Dugopolje. That is happening early Saturday morning our time. Sesvete Zagreb taking on Šibenik in Zagreb, and Orient hosting Bijelo Brdo. Cibalia taking on Zrinski Jurjevac in the big Slavonski derby. Croatia Zmijavci hosting Vukovar, and then finally Dubrava Zagreb taking on Jarun Zagreb in the Zagreb derby. And that is it for the Croatian roundup, Ante. All right, we're going to take a very, very short break.
That's right. I've actually got a bit of a new segment for a second called...
What's the segment called?
No, I lost you there. It's called TC's Trivia. So, quiz question. You might know this one. Name the team in the HNL history that comes from the smallest town of Croatian population.
I'm going to say...
in the history of the HNL comes from the smallest town with the smallest Croatian population.
Well, I'm going to say after last week's guest, Davor Bajsic, who was on our show, was a great guest, by the way. One of the clubs that he played for, Kameningrad, they, I think, had the village had something like 3,000. Could it have been Kameningrad? No.
No.
Oh,
So
okay.
if some of the viewers know the answer, put it in. And
I thought it was coming, Ingrid, but there it wasn't. So we will announce the answer to that later on in the show. But that's a good one, Auntie. Well done.
It's TC's trivia. Tony Shabbat trivia.
Right. Okay. There you go. All right, folks. We're going to take a break. When we return, it's time to preview the All-Croatian NPL ACT Grand Final happening this weekend at Deakin Stadium in the nation's capital. This is going to be an historic moment for football in Canberra, but also Australian Croatian football. The first time in an NPL Grand Final, we are going to have 2 Croatian community-backed clubs. Incredible. I can't wait for this.
Amazing.
Welcome to Slovicek Studio Architecture. Our approach combines modern design with harmonious solutions tailored to your unique needs. We listen closely to your vision and turn it into a functional, beautiful living environment that truly feels like home. Our designs cater to your needs and evolve with you over time, encouraging deeper connections with family and friends. Specializing in custom residential homes and boutique apartments, we balance luxury and comfort to create a welcoming atmosphere for everyone to enjoy. Discover a world of inviting and captivating design at www.slovicekstudio.com.au. Contact us for a journey from idea to reality. Slovicek Studio Architecture, turning your dreams into reality.
Yes, welcome back to the show. And we have got 2 massive guests previewing this huge grand final in the nation's capital. We have Niko Kresic from the O'Connor Knights, and we have got Sam Brown from Canberra, Croatia joining us. Niko, welcome, and Sam, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Awesome. Gents, thank you very much. Niko, welcome back to the show. Niko, you've been on the show before. First of all, when we spoke to you last year, so I think June, July last year, and since then, a lot has obviously happened. It's only the second year that the O'Connor Knights are in the top flight, a big return, and what a return it's been. But this year has been an amazing year right from the get-go, and to basically, well, I guess in a way, you're probably the favourites, isn't it? Going into the Saturday night's big game. I'm Sam. I'm not sure if Sam will agree with this, but
Sam was nodding.
Yeah,
Sam was nodding.
But first of all, how's the year been for you guys? I mean, it's been just amazing.
Yeah, it's been pretty much the perfect season, to be honest, up until this point. We're obviously looking forward to the weekend and hoping to seal it with another trophy, but yeah, anything can happen. It's a grand final and a derby. So, yeah, you could say we're favourites, but I'm sure Deakin won't be thinking that. And from a neutral perspective, I think anything could happen. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see.
Sam?
And Niko, what's been?
Oh, sorry,
Niko. What's been so special about the season so far? I mean, has it? Why have you gelled so much as a team? Has anything different happened this season as well?
Yeah, I think a big reason for our success has been the new signings we made in defence and our striker as well. Last year we conceded way too many goals, and that was part of the reason that we didn't finish as high as we probably could have. This year we conceded 18 goals in 21 games, so a massive improvement compared to last year. And yeah, we've continued our goal scoring form as well. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Now, Sam, would you agree? Would that be a fair summation? Canberra Croatia, the big Canberra Croatia, the mighty Giants, are actually going into this game as underdogs to the sister club O'Connor Knights. Is that a fair summation?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you don't play a game thinking that you're going to lose, but I think it's absolutely fair. O'Connor are the favourites. We've played 2 finals. We've played 120 minutes both games. They've got fresh legs. They won the league comfortably. So Saturday will obviously be a different task for them. It's who turns up on the day. But based on form, it's difficult for me to say we're favourites. So let's see what happens.
And Sam, we've been following obviously the season on this show quite closely, and we had Canberra Croatia sitting at 6th, and we thought, they're not going to even make the finals. And then all of a sudden, there's been a big sort of run of form in these last few weeks. I mean, has anything changed for you guys? I mean, what's been the story with the great momentum and the great shift in results?
I think the cup's a blessing and a curse, because you win the cup, all eyes go to round of 32. So that was definitely something to manage. I think we've struggled in terms of injuries and consistency. And you mentioned form. That's probably the first time we've had a consistent lineup with all players available. So that's not to make any excuse. It's not really acceptable for us as a club where we were. But we looked within the group and sort of went, well, we're pretty confident between ourselves that we can, if we make finals, make a real run. And we have. So we feel good. We feel confident. But like you say, we only just scraped in. There's no denying that.
Yeah, Niko. A few weeks ago, we had Alex Trninic, the technical director, on the show, and we spoke a lot about the rejuvenated, atmosphere, or the rejuvenation that is being felt at the club, in all segments, the juniors, the seniors, everything at the club. How much of that do you think has the performance of the senior men's team been, helped the buoyant atmosphere at O'Connor?
Yeah, I think it actually goes both ways. At trainings throughout the season, we've had players injured and suspended, and we've had 18-year-olds, 16-year-olds coming up from their respective age groups and training with us in full field games as well. And they've always stepped up and pushed us to our limits. So I think, it's a two-way street. We help motivate them, and they also provide that atmosphere at training to motivate us to do better as well.
Yeah.
And Niko, you've played Canberra Croatia 3 times this season, because you play every team 3 times. 2 games were a draw. One was a 1-0 win to O'Connor at Deakin Stadium. And this grand final is being held at Deakin. Now, the fact that it's being played at Deakin, is that, a little bit of a, danger thing for you guys, or you guys are quite at home there because you've already won there? Or, what are your thoughts about being the premiers and having to play, at Deakin Stadium, which is basically the team that you're playing in the grand final?
Yeah, you could argue that they've got the advantage playing at home, but to be honest, I think we play our best football there as well. We like to keep the ball on the ground, and unfortunately, our home ground isn't the best in Canberra. It's pretty bumpy. So, I'm more than happy to play at Deakin Stadium, and of course, I used to play there at Canberra Croatia, so I'm pretty familiar with it personally. But as a team, we can't wait to play there. And it's also a big pitch as well, and that suits our play style as well.
Now, Sam,
we'll be in the home dressing room though, won't we, Brownie?
That's what I was going to ask you. So maybe you can tell us where you're going to put us. It's all right, mate. Maybe change in the car park. Doesn't bother us.
Now, you two guys know each other really well. You guys have been teammates in your junior days, rep days and what you're not, and played together at Canberra Croatia for a couple of seasons. Sam, what can you tell us about Niko? What can you tell us? What are his best and maybe most annoying traits, if you like, characteristics?
I mean, he's got a pretty good left foot. So if you come and watch, you're going to hear me saying put him on his right foot, because I think that's for getting in and out of bed. Maybe Niko, I don't know. But I don't know. Most annoying trait. I don't think he's got an annoying trait. He's a good bloke, but I think I've heard him talk more tonight than I have in the past 10 years that I've known him. He's laughing because he knows it's true.
Niko, what about yourself? What the same thing about Brownie? What's his? What do you know about him? What's his most potent characteristic as a goalkeeper? And what's the most annoying as well? Could be the same thing.
Well, I don't know about most potent. He's pretty much doesn't have a weakness. He's good, a good shot stopper, and he's good with his distribution when he's got the ball at his feet. So I don't know about most potent. I think he's pretty well rounded, but hopefully he lets me get one past him on the weekend.
Is there a lot of on-field like sledging or anything like that, particularly at the corners or anything like that? Does he sort of yell
not
out,
really.
"Hey, Niko, your shoelaces are tied and untied"? Does he?
Niko doesn't come near me. He knows not to.
I'll be taking the corners, actually. Hopefully I can swing one in.
It's as far away as you can
There
get.
you go. It's all fun and games, gents. It's all fun and games now. But obviously, come 6 o'clock on Saturday night, it's going to be a different story. And there are all the details there on the screen as we speak. Saturday, 23rd of September, 7 p.m. Deakin Stadium. Expecting a big crowd, gents. What's been the buzz like in the nation's capital this week? Sam, firstly to you.
I mean, I think it's pretty special. I think a lot of the guys at the club, the volunteers, are really putting the word out there for the Croatian community, not just in Canberra, but in surrounding regions. As you guys said, it's pretty massive, not just for Canberra, but obviously I'm not Croatian, but I've been at the club long enough to know what it means to the Croatian community. So it's massive, not just for Canberra, but for Australia. In terms of Canberra in particular, it's a testament to the community. Credit where credit's due, particularly to O'Connor. Like you guys said, they get promoted last year. They're in the grand final this year. I think whatever happens, in all fairness to them, come Saturday, it's a real achievement for them, and it's a testament to them for what they've been able to build. But the buzz is definitely there. It always is for a grand final, but particularly so now. I think the boys are pretty aware that it's going to be a big one, and we hope that they're turning people away at the gate because we can't fit any more in. So we'll see what happens.
And Sam, well, what were you thinking when you were 2-0 down on Saturday night? And, it was looking a little bit bleak, wasn't it, at one stage?
Yeah, look, to be honest, that was probably the worst 20 minutes I think I've seen us play all season. So that's what I was thinking. This is abysmal. But we always have that belief. We know that once we get, the bit between our teeth, that other teams are going to struggle, and we sort of suffocate teams. I think the consensus amongst the boys in the game was if we get one, that'll really put them under the cosh, and that's what ended up happening. So we knew it wasn't good enough, but we got the goal. We went in at half-time and went, yeah, okay, we think we can do a job here.
That's brilliant. And can I just ask quickly, you had a teammate this year called Kaz Patafto, is that correct?
Yeah, I did have a teammate called Kaz Patafto, but I don't know what he's doing with himself now.
Well, isn't he the CEO of Brisbane Roar, who are taking on Melbourne Knights on Sunday in the Australia Cup?
Yep, so they tell me. But he did come to the session on Tuesday night, so that was good of him to fit us into his busy schedule.
So, that's so. How many rounds did he play? The first half of the season, or
he played about the first half, and then I turned up to training, and the boys were saying, "Well, Kaz is the new CEO of Brisbane Roar," and I thought they were having a laugh. But he played the first half of the season. He was good for us. He's someone, in terms of his role now, it's really positive for him, but I think also for the Australian football community, because he's obviously an incredibly talented player. And I think it goes without saying that what this country needs in terms of football is people with football minds in football positions with power to implement things that they can see will improve the game. So it's fantastic for him. He was good for us. It was a loss for us, but I think we're getting some stability now and regaining our feet in the midfield.
Well, yeah, that's fantastic.
Well,
I just want to ask.
There's another Australian Croatian, Kaz Patafto being of part of Croatian background, another Australian Croatian administrator. So we've got John Didelica down at Melbourne Victory. We've got Šime Krislovic at Macarthur. Now we've got Kaz Patafto at Brisbane Roar. Niko, a question to you maybe. I know we've had lots of players. I know we've had lots of coaches that have had an influence on Australian football. But now we're actually starting to get a lot of people that are becoming administrators. That's amazing that the Croatian community is producing not just footballers and coaches, but now also administrators to take the sport in this country in a different direction, or hopefully.
Yeah, that's right. It's no secret that Australian Croatians have played a big part in Australian football. Mostly as players, but now it's really good to see them stepping up into those administrative roles and hopefully take the game in the right direction. There's a lot of passion for football in Australia, and you could even see that in the World Cup, both the men's at the end of last year and the women's at the middle of this year. So I think it's important to take advantage of the support that it get around the country, and hopefully it's heading in the right direction.
We were speaking to Western Knights a few weeks ago, and they were saying they won the premiership and sort of that was enough for them type of thing. But do you guys think that, you guys can lift one more time for a grand final, or do you think, it should be a first past the post system? Because, of course, in New South Wales, they've just adopted just the first past the post system.
Well, yeah, I think most people would agree that the league championship is the more prestigious honour because it shows the team that usually represents the team that's been consistent throughout the whole season. But in saying that, we obviously want to win on the weekend and top off our season. So, yeah, we won't be going in half-hearted. We're not giving up just yet.
Well, gents, on that note, we're going to have to
let... Especially because the derby. And Sam...
Go on, Ante.
Damn, I just wanted one quick... Sorry. I've always got one added question. Sam, just going back to the Australia Cup you mentioned, you were leading 1-0. I mean, what happened at the end of that match in the round of 32 against Mount Druitt, who, of course, have been relegated now into the second division?
Well, I don't think we were leading 1-0. We were down. I think we were down 2-1 at one point. But in terms of that game, look, I don't want to sound like we're making excuses. That was particularly upsetting for us boys because we had a lot of young boys step in. They did a great job, but the feeling around the boys was, and I mentioned injuries before, if we had a full squad, we would have really taken it to Mount Druitt. Obviously, they're now relegated and they deserve to win. There's no two which ways about it. The scoreline shows it. But the feeling amongst the boys was we really took it to them for a good portion of the game, arguably played better football, notwithstanding the fact that we were down. So that was disappointing. I think in reality, we probably lacked that little bit of depth and quality that you just have in a bigger league with more players at your disposal. But it was a good experience. And that was a turning point for us as well, because we did leave thinking, okay, well, we can mix it with the Sydney team. We definitely can mix it with the boys back home.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, it's going to be an awesome spectacle in the nation's capital this Saturday night. It's going to be a huge weekend of football around the country involving Australian Croatian clubs. But Sam, one final thing. You've been at the club, is it 8 years or something like that, or 8 years playing with Canberra Croatia?
Yeah, 8 years now. So a little while.
I believe, Ante, there's an old myth or legend. Is it that right that if a player that's not of non-Croatian extraction has been at the Croatian club for 10 years, they have to change their name to something Croatian. So something like Brownage.
I think it could be Smedge, couldn't it? Isn't that Croatian?
It could be a direct translation, I'd love to see. I'd love to see Russ Gibbs, the commentator there in ACT, then start saying, and here comes Sam Smedge with the ball. Might be a good idea, you never know.
I'm planning for the 10-year anniversary.
On that note, gents, all the very, very best to you both and to both your respective clubs. It should be one fantastic spectacle. And for those in Canberra, do go along to the game. It's at Deakin Stadium there at 6 p.m. kickoff. For those that are not in Canberra, make sure to tune in.
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Sorry.
7 p.m.
Yeah, that's right. I've got all these kickoff times mixed up. 7 p.m. But I'd get ready at 6 p.m. and have a house party or something, and then tune into the Bar TV live stream.
Watch the under 23s. Exactly, Canberra Croatia in that grand final as well. So it's a huge season for both clubs, and congratulations for dominating the ACT NPL competition. And whatever happens on Saturday, we wish the best team wins, and it's a great spectacle for us neutrals. We'll be tuning in on Bar TV.
Good on you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Who's to say who's young, who's old? Compared to who? Age is complicated. You see, most people really stop getting older at age 26, but their bodies just don't get the memo. So, hidden inside most over 50-ish-year-olds is the soul and spirit of a 26-year-old, with the same loves and desires and hopes and dreams, just in slightly different packaging. Why waste time wondering when you could be enjoying? It's your life, and life is what you make it. So, what are you waiting for?
Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. And first of all, a couple of Cheerios to some international viewers, to Jure Dragovic, who has just left Budapest or Hungary or somewhere out that way. He's tuning into this show from Hungary.
Not Jure Dragovic, but Jure Andrea.
Yeah, Jure Andrea. Oh, did I just give out his real name? Cheers to Jure, who's somewhere on the Croatian-Hungarian border, and to a former, old ex-neighbour of mine down Geelong way, Vera Čorić, who is tuning in from Zagreb as well. Passionate football fan Vera is, and enjoying watching her, following her trip around Croatia. It seems everyone went to Croatia this year, aren't they? But next year, with the Euro Championships, I think there's going to be an even bigger exodus of Australian Croats going to Croatia. Hey,
for sure, absolutely. Everyone's, trying to get tickets at this point in time. October 3, they pretty much go for bidding. So good luck with that. Yeah. And of course, Jure obviously mentioned Velika as an answer. No, that's not the TC trivia answer. So anyone else with a response, please add it into the chat.
Yeah, exactly. Mate, we've got our next guest up for ready to come on. Ante, would you like to do the introductions?
Absolutely. We are honoured in a week where it's been absolutely massive for the Melbourne Knights with their historic victory in the quarterfinals of the Australia Cup. For the first time, they made the quarterfinals. For the first time, they've made the semi-finals after that big comeback victory. We have none other than Anthony Duzel joining us this evening. Anthony, we really, really appreciate your time and coming in such an important week.
Thanks, boys. Thanks for having me.
Well, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you on, Anthony. Mate, take us through that thrilling, pulsating comeback in last Thursday's quarterfinal of the Australia Cup.
Yeah, look, by no means it was our cleanest performance. We went 2-0 down after probably dominating the game for the first 20 minutes, and then went through a little bit of a patch there where 2-0 down, you started hitting a bit of panic stations. We did well, to get the goal back just before half time and to go in with a bit of confidence to come into the second half. I thought we were the better team. Obviously, in the second half, they sort of reverted to behind the ball sort of things, and it was hard to break them down. They played their game really well against us, and like I said, we were a bit off on the night. But to score 2 goals in the 90, it was a real special occasion for the club and all the fans that came out that night.
And how late did you stay at the club after celebrating with all the fans, Anthony? I mean, did you get to work the next day, or what did you do?
Yeah, look, I had work the next day, so I wasn't. I didn't stick around for too long. I knew they were playing the week after as well. Obviously, the semi-final this week was going to be the week after. So the boys, we packed it up a bit early. I think a few boys did stay. I'm pretty sure Mitchell was one of the last ones to leave.
Yeah. Now, Anthony, at what point did you actually think to yourselves, boys, we can do this. We can actually do this. I mean, let's say you're 2-1 down. There's 10 minutes to go. Red card. Was it at that point you thought we can do this? We can come back, or was it closer towards when just before you got that equaliser?
Oh, look, even, like I said, for the first 20 minutes, we were a better team. They scored from our mistake. They got a penalty, and the second goal, it was a well-drilled goal, I guess. We always believed, that we're going to, they'll win the game. We didn't give up, and that's sort of been our thing all year. Just keep believing, work hard, work for each other, and we'll get the prize at the end. And this was no different. We came in halftime with full belief. Mm-hmm. Ben's obviously tweaked a few things in the second half, and full credit to all the boys that came on, the substitutes. Anton scored off the bench, and other boys were heavily involved in play, making impact off the bench, which is credit to them. So it took a full squad effort. Like Ben says before every game, it's going to take a full squad to win it, and this was exactly the same. Exactly the same for the whole 90.
Brilliant. Absolutely.
Yeah, obviously in the 70th year, and obviously a new coach, and it's the first time in years that you've actually made the semi-finals of the Victorian NPL competition as well, and now the Australia Cup semi-finals. So, what's special about this playing group, and some of the additions that have come in, and maybe Ben Khan as well. I mean, what's he done for this playing group?
Yeah, look, we've had a massive turnover of players this year. I think it's something like 13, 14, and only retained I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 from last, maybe 3 or 4 from last year. So, you know, at the end of the day, you know, we didn't expect to, to be fair, we didn't really expect to the semi-final of the Australian Cup. You know, we wanted to push as far into that tournament as possible because, you know, everyone dreams of a cup run. But to achieve what we have achieved in a short space of time with a playing group that's fairly new is a credit to the players, and a massive credit to Ben Khan, who's come in and really changed the culture of the club, and the playing style and pretty much everything has changed over from the last 3 to 5 years that I've been at the club.
Yeah, and I love the possession-based football as well. Although probably, you know, against Avondale playing out from the back, and even a couple of times against Heidelberg, it seemed like we were going to come a cropper with playing that style. But we tend to stick to that style, don't we?
Yeah, you know, Ben always does say, he goes, look, it's our style, and we'll stick to that. You know, if it's a mistake from playing out the back, it's always on him. That's the style that he's chosen to play, and that's the style that's worked for us the majority of the time this year. There's always going to be mistakes, you know, things happen, but like they haven't the game, which was heartbreaking in the end. But we stick to our game plan, and from from all the games we've played this year, you can see that it's obviously worked more than it hasn't worked.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
We saw some photos there of post-match out on Quarry Hill. It was great to see a lot of fans revisiting the iconic Quarry Hill side of the stadium. But immediately after that, the jubilation, the elation, has there been anything like that so far this season, or so far has that been just the pinnacle of the joy, the jubilation?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think that was the pinnacle of so far this year. Let's hope that Saturday is no different, and there's another pinnacle on Sunday. Yeah. But yeah, that was probably our I think it was our best turnout for the year at the stadium too.
Yeah.
So like I said, you know, it's a massive game on Sunday for us. We hope to get a bumper crowd, and it'll be they'll play a massive part in us getting over the line.
Anthony, have we tried to get any intel from Mitchell Hoare about his brother playing at the Raw, Harry? Is there any ability to get some inside info there?
Look, the only inside info that actually he's given Mitch is that he's suspended, so he's actually not playing.
Damn.
Yeah. So,
there you go.
So
the
Henry,
two brothers aren't playing each other.
No. So Henry's I watched the game against Western Sydney last week, and Henry really was one of the better players on the pitch. So having him out of the Brisbane lineup is gives us a better chance of winning, and Mitchell say the same thing.
Absolutely.
Well, the omen there is that Sydney United last year knocked out Brisbane Raw, and if Melbourne Knights can do the same. But just like Sydney United, the Melbourne Knights this year are making massive waves in the homeland. And just the other day, Sportske Novosti, the Croatian daily sports paper, came out with a big article. And this is just the electronic version, but the hard copy version was a massive spread on 2 or 3 pages, I think it was. And it's great to see that. Now, did you have your cousins and relatives from Croatia sending you snippets of the Sportske Novosti? And it must be really heartwarming that you guys are now creating international waves and making news in Croatia.
Yeah, look, Melbourne Knights, the history the Melbourne Knights has, we're probably one of the biggest clubs, probably the biggest club outside of Croatia, being a Croatian club, along with Sydney United. So when we're doing well, it's nice to be recognised, in the homeland and all over the world, I guess.
Aren't it?
Yeah, and Anthony, of course, you mentioned the Brisbane Raw. I watched that game as well, where they defeated Wanderers 4-2. They defeated Sydney United 5-0. They defeated the Newcastle Jets 3-2. So it seems like they've got a lot of goals in them. Have you guys watched those? And is there anything you're changing about your game plan or anything like that?
Yeah, look, I think most of the boys, I think, watched the game against Western Sydney, obviously, because we knew that one of those two teams could be a potential team we play in the semi-final. So we've done our study on them. I think Ben's looked into them even more than we have, on probably a longer period of time than we have too. So we trained last night. We got a training on tomorrow night and again Saturday before the game. So yeah, like I said, without giving too much away on what we're going to do, we'll stick to our game. I don't think we're going to change too much in that aspect. Obviously, you got to respect the opposition. Sorry, they're professionals, so they're well drilled. They're all quality footballers, but when you look at our team too, we're a good footballing team. So it's going to be a good battle, and if we rock up to the party like we have been in the previous weeks that we played, maybe not the first half against Heidelberg, but in the previous weeks, we'll give them a good game, and hopefully they don't rock up to the party and we win.
Put on a party for the fans. That's what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Now, Anthony, if there's anyone that's going to be very, very super motivated to do well against the Brisbane Roar, it is the captain of the Knights, a former Brisbane Roar player, someone who's tasted premiership success at Brisbane Roar, Ivan Franjic. Now, Ivan during the week was announced along with Sam White to lead the junior development program. This is huge news, isn't it? He's going to be the technical director. Did I just say Sam White? Steve White. Ivan Franjic will be the technical director of the NPL side, or the NPL boys side, and Steve, the Miniroos technical director. This must be a massive, massive boost for the development or the junior development pathway there at the Knights.
Yeah, look, Ivan's he's a great captain to begin with, and he's a great man to have around the club. He's got a lot of footballing knowledge, and there's no probably better person to develop the young of Melbourne Knights and community than someone that's been at the top of the game in Australian football and at world football as well.
Yeah, and how inspirational is it to be playing alongside him? I mean, he's a former Socceroo. As we said, he played A-League for several years at the Brisbane Roar, and now he's come back to the Knights, and he's leading the Knights by inspirationally leading the club to its best success in the last decade or so.
Yeah, like I said, he's just a great person to have around the club. He's got a lot of knowledge about the game. And we rub off and we show him high respect. And, sometimes, when things are down, he's the person to look to because obviously been in those situations before at a higher level.
Yeah.
So, it's someone you look up to, and it's someone, that at the end of the day has played a higher level than pretty much everyone in the team. So, we've got dreams of playing at those kind of levels as well. So, yeah, definitely someone you look up to.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's a fantastic occasion, fantastic opportunity, particularly with the Melbourne Knights being ambitious, getting into the B League as well. That is happening in the future. So great opportunity, to be on the Australian stage as well, just like Sydney United were last year, and make it to that final, and who knows, even go one better and win that final. But all of us are behind you, Anthony, and we really, really hope that you guys, and we know, you've already made us proud, and we know you're going to make us proud on Sunday night as well. And, all the fans get down there. And, of course, everyone else watch on 10 Play who can't get to Melbourne.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, boys. And, thank you. Thank you for all the support.
Thank you, Anthony. All the very, very best for Sunday. Good on you and well done.
Thanks, boys. Thank you.
Thanks, Anthony.
Wow. Anthony Duzel.
And it was interesting to listen to the commentary. Of course, I didn't ask Anthony about it, but Ben Kahn being touted as the next Mariners coach as well. So that's quite interesting. It just shows how important and how valued what he's done at Melbourne Knights has been this season. So it'll be a shame to lose him, but yeah, well done for obviously other teams taking notice, and A-League teams taking notice.
I know Mark Ivkovic, who was the football manager for several years down there, and he was one of my co-hosts on the Football Out West show, the sister podcast of the Oz Cro Soccer Show. He did mention that that they've been chasing Ben for several years at the Melbourne Knights, and they finally landed him. And it would be an absolute, it'd be tragic if he had to go, because I think he's still got a lot to do, a lot to shape, and a lot to influence down there. But if he was to go to the Central Coast, well, certainly this performance in the Australia Cup would be a wonderful, wonderful parting gift. But let's hope it doesn't get to that. Look, at the moment,
Abbassad tonight is coaching Central Coast, the former Sydney United player, with their Asia Cup quest as well.
That's
So,
right.
see what happens there.
Abbas can take the helm there. I give my blessing. I give my blessing to Abbassad to take.
Me too. Great guy.
Yeah. We're hoping to get Ante Poljak from the Gold Coast Knights. And another Ante Smolic from who's the MC at this year's Australian Croatian Tournament, Gala night. So they are yet to arrive in the green room. We're hoping they're going to join any second. We're going to take a very, very quick commercial break. And hopefully when we return, one or the other of the Antes or the Anthonys will be ready to join us. So, folks, don't go away. It is the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It's been a massive show, and we've still got a lot more to come. So don't go away. Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. We're hoping to get Ante Poljak from the Gold Coast Knights, and hopefully he'll jump on. I know he's got state training, so maybe training has gone a little bit longer, and he will be joining us possibly from his car and possibly on the side of the road, hopefully not the highway, but he will be joining us a bit later on. But it is, Ante, I'll allow you, because this has been 30 years in the making, I'll let you do the introductions of our next guest. He's very unique. He's a one-of-a-kind MC, and he's ready to jump on and join us here on the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Ante, over to you.
Yeah. A gentleman whose reputation precedes him, who is a wonderful lyricist and, has hosted a few podcasts himself. And so it's none other than live from Melbourne, Mr. Anthony Smolic. Dobro večer, Anthony. Kako si, disi, šta radiš? And all the chavadi around Australia are watching, and they're all excited to have you on as well.
Dobro večer, dečki. It's great to be on, mate. It's been a bit of an anxious wait in the background as we're listening in, and to all the chavars out there that are listening, be they from the outskirts of Konjic or otherwise. By all means. But I want to go back to that question you had earlier. There was one about what town?
Ante. Yeah.
The smallest Crow population. Where's Ante Dragovic from?
Metkovic. No, can't be that possibly.
And I was going to say not many Crows down there, but anyway, we won't split hairs.
Well, it wasn't from Bibi, No, they didn't have a team in the first division. No. Actually, we'll talk. We'll jump before we do talk about that. You did have a little bit of a stint playing football at the. I'm not too sure. You can tell us what level, but you did play in Croatia for a couple of years. Was it for NK Bibinje, the hometown of your ancestors?
No, I got slapped by a security guard after being substituted at NK Bibinje.
Wasn't a relative, was it?
Not a relative. My relatives actually threw cans at me playing for Sukošan, for Zlata Luka Sukošan against Debeljak when I defected across. But I did play at the highest level in Europe, yes, first division. Županijska Liga, Zadarsko-Kninska. Either way, it was first division, if anybody asks, in Europe for money. So that means, yes, I was a professional.
Wow, professional.
Oh, you know how it is, mate. It wasn't easy. It was a long slog. I did have a trial set up with what was then known as NK Zadar Komerc through a bloke. I can't remember what his name was, Žarko Jurkovic. I think it was done through Matica Iseljenika, if anyone's ever used them.
Yes,
they set up a trial at NK Zadar Komerc for me, and I went on a 3-day bender beforehand and didn't even show up.
It wasn't like some part of a reality show, like the start of some sort of reality show. The winner gets a trial or something like that.
The Craig Foster Nerds FC in Manchester Warratifi. No, so that was the end of my career. But at the highest levels, I could have played, Intertoto Cup or something like that.
That would have been fantastic. Yeah. Exactly.
No, so I ended up at NK Debeljak pulling on the strip that my old man wore. before they were previously, I think, known as NK Putnik. And then after a couple of years there, moved on to NK Zlatna Luka, where had some limited success, I guess, more through being paid on time.
That's a rarity.
So it was, quite an interesting experience. Anyone that has played there, and if anyone knows Vedran Knežević, Veg, he has played in the local league, and we've often shared stories about some mutual referees that we'd come across and some of the antics that they got up to. But yeah, quite a strange competition at that local level over there. And there are some boys over there now playing a little bit higher than that, but no doubt they'll come back with some stories about refereeing and administration at that level.
I'm sure that
which position did you play, Anthony?
At the Beljaka, I was basically top scorer in the 2 years I was there. And when I
was goalkeeper. No.
Own goal.
I was a stopper at NK Zlatna Luka, funnily enough. Don't know how to header a ball, but I was thrown into the back line there and kept my spot, so I must have done something wrong.
There you go. Now, speaking of Nerds FC, after you came back to Australia, early 2000s or whatever, you spearheaded a team that performed unbelievably well at the Adelaide Croatian Soccer Tournament. We're not exactly sure of what year it was, but you'll be able to enlighten us. HNK Narod. Now, this is something that, look, there he is. There's the man himself. Now, we believe it was 2002.
When are you at it?
Talking about Nerds FC, but seriously, HNK Narod. Tell us about this unique football club.
That was an absolute mishmash of anyone that couldn't really get a game at their respective clubs at that particular tournament in Adelaide. And I think it was 202, 203. I've got the plaque, which I'm bringing to Adelaide to bring it back. But you can see there's boys from what was then Chelsea Hajduk. There's you can see Phil Juric in goals from Geelong. Shishka is in there. Who else is in there? I'm just having a look. The Kladica boys from Chelsea as well. Stipe Stips, Dragovic, Brucey, famous Fox Sports and international.
David Davutovic, yes.
Rusev, Mirko Markov, who's currently living overseas. At the back there, I think that's Dugi, who now plays for Wednesday nights. But we went on a fantastic run. I remember we got through the group stage. Was it the group stage? And we got a Marshall Luburic, I think his name was, from North Geelong, who couldn't get a game in the North game. Came across, threw on an Arnold jersey, scored the winner against Brisbane, I think, and got us through to the next stage where we took on, I think it was a Mark Shilic-led Melbourne Knights team.
There you go.
It was,
That's the way you do it.
Not able to be done anymore these days if you're an unregistered or an unaffiliated club, other than obviously Wednesday Nights, who have had a long-standing agreement. And by the way, the Wednesday Nights this year is their 20th consecutive tournament.
Unbelievable. That's incredible. And one of the nicest blokes you will ever meet, or collective of blokes. They really are gentlemen. But, mate, your involvement at the Croatian Soccer Tournament didn't end there, and it's continued in some shape, form or another, as a coach, as a player, as an administrator, but more lately as an MC. Tell us, how many times have you MC'd? There we go. That's a previous one. Now, there's Adrian Pornic in the background. We've got Mark Rudan there with Mariana Barnotz from Geelong. Can you remember where this was? Which tournament was this?
Oh, if Mark Rudan's there, I think that could have been the Dandy City tourney. Was that when he and Mariana MC'd and I came up? I had a few cameo appearances. So there's a lot
so you weren't MCing here.
I don't think I was. I think I turned up to collect the Team Spirit Award. I think it was. And I took my chance to get a few gags out and bag a few people or offend as many as I possibly could, which then rolled into others asking, do you reckon you could MC the whole thing at some point, which, I'm a pure amateur. I did MC alongside Simon McCuskey the St Albans Dynamo presentation night on Saturday.
Yeah.
Probably wasn't my finest work. I didn't get my song out. We did have a plan with Major Minor to do my song just before Zaprasic Boys, but it didn't quite work out. And by the time I tried to get the backing track going, I probably should have been already halfway home in a taxi.
No backing tracks, Anthony. No backing. It has to be all live. Now I've heard about your previous MCing prowess where you've got dressed up as previous players and things like that. So you're used to putting on a show,
yes,
right?
I've dug out as many wigs and masks and tracksuits. And I've got the 1991 Adelaide tournament parachute or whatever it's still called. So that'll be coming out. But just, a little bit of fun, a little bit of hijinks, etc., sort of just to keep it a bit interesting. Sometimes galas and more formal events get to be, very formal. The formalities seem to take over. So if you can break that up a little bit with a few gags, maybe I wouldn't say struggling, but furiously working away, trying to get 2 songs out for the gala.
Oh, wow. There you go.
Oh, wow.
Number 2. There you go.
Number 2, and they will be, finally, after many times where he sat in the background and had to listen to my krivljenje, Rob Spoiler from Major Minor will be joining
fantastic.
me to do a duet at least on one of them. The second one I haven't quite finished, and we'll see how that one goes. But again,
looking forward to hearing that.
Well,
that is fantastic. That is going to be something worth looking for. And there's the gala night details on Saturday night at the William McGarry Room at the Adelaide Oval. MCs Ante Smolic and Belinda Fusco. Fusco is who's that? Belinda? Is that Belinda?
Belinda, formerly Maric, ex-Miss Croatia from Adelaide.
Yes. There you go, local girls. So that's fantastic. Now, what else can we expect from the gala night? I believe there's a very special tombola prize as well.
There is. So for fear of looking like, for everyone that's watching, okay, my face is gone, that's good, because otherwise I'll be looking at another screen and people will say, Jesus, there's a new John Cosmina when he used to be on the ABC. Okay, gala night. Gala night. Last tickets are still available. Must close this Friday the 22nd at midnight. So they have opened up the ticketing for a further few days because the venue has allowed that. I'll go through a couple of things that I've been provided with. Match schedule. Due to Melbourne Knights Division 1 pull-out, schedule adjustments have or are being made. So please check the website or app over the coming days if you were in the Division 1 Group A or B, whichever one it might have been. The FSA, Football South Australia grounds, are very close, in close proximity, so you'll be able to walk there. The Friday night party is 18 years and over. Buy a wristband ticket on Friday only, pitch 4, etc. There'll be things for kids happening. Ručak ispod Masline, if you've heard about that one. The Olive Grove lunch, you can buy tickets now, and they close on Monday. Sunday's family day, featuring unlimited kids activities. Sunday spit roast lunch, book a whole pig or lamb and feed the whole team. I'm playing for the Split Old Boys, so we'll probably need a pig, a lamb, and 3 goats, I reckon. In the chat group lately, Matty Gorwich could probably smash a pig on his own. Are essential. So follow the socials for announcements. Merchandise online shop is now open. So again, croatiaraiders.com.au/tournament. You can see not only the tournament merch, you can see Adelaide Croatia Raiders merch available to you. You can buy and pick up your merch pack when you get to the tourney to avoid having to pay postage, save you a little bit of money. Also, the tourney itself is a pay-as-you-go event. No vouchers, no tickets. It'll be strictly tap and go on your credit cards.
Thank goodness.
Or cash inside the main club rooms will be accepted. So avoid the hassles and lineups. Use your card in all the other locations. And like you mentioned, the car lottery. Someone will win a car on Sunday. Tickets are selling fast. Don't miss your chance. There's a great chance to win only 1,200 tickets. And I think the car is worth close to $30,000.
Goodness me.
Now, I've got a screenshot here. I'll just quickly see what car it is so that everybody knows. But you can buy the tickets online at that same...
So if someone from Perth wins, does it mean that they get to drive it back to Perth, or does it get delivered to Perth, or are you driving it? You're actually delivering it to the person's house?
No, I'll go down to Nullarbor, going sideways. Like last time I was in Adelaide in someone else's car. That was a 95 grand final. I think it was a rent-a-car from Avis that my Coom's mum took out in her name because he was still on his Alice.
That would have been something else, and that was a victory that year, of course, for the Knights of Adelaide City. Now you've got you've got the captain's armbands. Are you captain of the Split Old Boys? Is that why?
So you didn't put it on your socials today. You said there's some massive announcements, but the biggest announcement is yes, whether it's through democratic means or otherwise, I have been formally elected as the captain of the Split Veterans over 45s for another year.
Wow.
That is breaking news, folks. You've heard it here First on the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Congratulations.
Great news.
Brilliant.
And just getting in on time, just getting ready for Sunday when we do finally get so you can see the guns out there been practicing on lifting the cup. But, we've got some tough opposition. There's Hurstville, who've been traditionally very strong, Gold Coast. Melbourne Knights got their 45s in this year, who I represented a couple of times this year as well. During the they went unbeaten with 17-1 record, winning their over 45s competition down here in Melbourne. So it's quite a strong competition. But again, looking at some of the teams, I think we'll need to introduce 55s, maybe even 65s very soon.
Well, it'd probably have to be
what do you
wheelchair
reckon about-
soccer or walking soccer.
And what do you reckon about Sunday, Melbourne Knights' chances? And, how's the liver going to go on Sunday? It's a big semi-final there in Melbourne.
We will see. Look, it's an interesting one. It's a tough ground to come to, regardless if you're A-League, your Brisbane Roar, your Melbourne Victory. I don't think it's an easy venue to come to. You could see on the footage from last week the intimidating crowd factor as well. So, and that's just from a noise perspective, not from a shenanigans of any other kind. But again, they have to travel. They're the ones that have to come there. They're out of their comfort zone. Are they as prepared as the Knights team are, because they've been playing all season and done extremely well? The only thing that might catch out the Knights, I think, is probably the length of the season. They've been they've gone all the way through into the finals, semi-finals of the Doherty Cup, now into the semi-final. They've played a lot of games. They have played a lot of games. A lot of these boys probably work a lot during the week as well. So hopefully they're rested up. Again, you can understand why they are unable to make the tourney because of the closeness of their semi-final to the actual tournament itself. So you got to take.
Oh, they've got to prepare for the final. That's
what
why
it is.
they're already locked in for the final. That's why they're.
That's right. But the weather looks like it's going to hold up. No rain. You expect a big crowd. So all the very best. Hopefully they do well, do our community proud, and that's all you want. Win, lose or draw.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be like the old NSL days, and like we enjoyed our semi-final up here in Sydney last year. Enjoy it on Sunday, and anyone who can get down to Melbourne on a Sunday, get down there, because it is a special atmosphere.
And speaking of special atmospheres, I'm sure that's what's going to be very special on the night of the Gala Day tournament or Gala tournament at the Adelaide Croatian Soccer Tournament. Wishing you, Auntie, all the very best for the tournament. Don't break a leg. I mean, yesterday the performers say break a leg, but literally we do not want you to break a leg as captain of Split Old Boys. And have a great tournament. And wishing you all the very, very best. And thank you for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you very much, boys, and all the very best. Fantastic job you're doing and doing our community proud, sometimes unappreciated, but you can be sure that there are plenty of people out there who appreciate your work. And for Dinamo, who does have the tournament next year, you might have a couple of MCs right there on the screen, and I can just come in as a cameo as I have in the
Auntie, I think we'll be more than happy to sit back and allow the master of ceremonies in every word of the word to take over. Auntie, all the very best, and thank you once again.
Cheers, boys. All the best.
Cheers. Ante Smolic, a legend, everyone who knows him. Yep, and he's promised that there's going to be not one but two songs at this year's tournament in Adelaide. Should be absolutely fantastic.
2 songs.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, we were unable to get. Yeah, we're unable to get Anthony Poljak. All these Anthonys tonight: Anthony Duzel and Anthony Smolic, and we were unable to get Anthony Poljak on the show tonight. He is actually representing Queensland against Victoria. I believe it's this Saturday night in Melbourne, and they're playing at the home of the Matildas. So if you are keen to catch up with our resident Croatian from the Gold Coast Knights, he'll be down in Melbourne this weekend playing for the state team. The 3 Melbourne Knights players were selected in this team, but obviously for the fact that they are involved with the Sunday night's big Australia Cup semi-final, they will not be taking part in that. But wishing our Croatian clubs in Canberra, wishing our Melbourne Knights on the Sunday night as well, all the very, very best. And indeed, Newcastle, Croatia as well. They're in the grand final as well in the Hunter Valley. So to everyone involved in any football action this weekend from any of the Australian Croatian teams, and there are a few juniors as well, I believe, as well in Victoria as well taking part. All the very best, and we will be back next Wednesday night at 8 p.m. for a very, very special season finale. We are still putting the finishing touches to this, but it could be tonight was a huge show. Next week promises to be possibly even bigger. So, folks, thank you for tuning into us in such large numbers. We really look forward to having your presence next week. But before that, Auntie, you've got one last thing to say.
The answer to the question, the big trivia question, it was, and Taunchi, you're going to know this one, and you're going to kick yourself. It's Tertia Topolovac from in season 2000-2001.
Yes.
Do you remember them? That was the season, apparently, that NK Zagreb and Ivica Orlic won that particular season. So there you go. Yeah, who would have known? But
who would have known that? Thank you very much, Auntie. Well, next week we're going to have TC's trivia. We might even get TC on the show and to actually ask that question. Okay, folks. Thank you very much for joining us on the Oz Cro Soccer Show. It was episode 54. Be sure to join us next Wednesday night for our season finale episode. Thanks to Jan Malife, our major sponsor. Good night and good luck to all of our Croatian clubs. Bye-bye.
Enjoy it.